Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to our beloved lecturer Madam Sharida and our fellow friends. My name is ALIA ADNAN and my matrix number is 2020980765. Before we start, let's watch a video regarding this topic so you guys will more understand on what issues that my group will present.
This is the hardest job in the world, getting paid $8 a day to mine sulfur from this volcano in Indonesia. These hardworking men have to carry more than 100 kilos of sulfur to the top of the volcano, all while hiking through toxic gas. You see, working as a sulfur miner is an easy way to triple and even quadruple your money, because not only is it difficult to find a job, but the local minimum wage is just that low. The weight of the sulfur is so heavy that over the years, it gives them permanent nerve damage in their shoulders and spine, and they can no longer feel their collarbones. Even worse, some work for more than 30 years without wearing a mask. And because they're breathing in all this toxic gas, they get really bad respiratory issues, and unfortunately, a lot of them pass away in their 40s and 50s.
The miner here don't care to the body, also for health, they have to get money for family by food.
These men are nothing short of superheroes. They sacrifice their bodies and go through unthinkable pain just to provide for their families.
So, I hope that you guys will get some idea on how dangerous and risky to work as a sulfur miner. Okay, now let's begin with the introduction first. What is the devil's gold refers to? The devil's gold refers to an Indonesian sulfur miner in Surabaya, Indonesia. They are being called with devil's gold because their jobs are too risky, which involve the safety of their lives. They collected yellow lumps of sulfur that solidified next to its acidic crater lake. Using pickers, they cut up lumps of sulfur, placed them in bamboo baskets and carried them to the top of the crater, where they were loaded into a wheelbarrow for a trip down the mountain. Sulfur is used in explosive, cosmetics, and agriculture products. Workers spend 12 hours of shift dodging plumes of toxic smoke, with most being covered only by rags tied around their mouth, while carrying up to the 180 pounds of sulfur on their backs. With temperatures reaching 100 degrees Fahrenheit and the smell of rotten eggs, it was one of the most dangerous and unpleasant jobs in the world. Now, we will move to the first issue of these topics. The first issue is an unstable income that led to the financial catastrophe. Their salary depends on the number of kilograms transported, around 1,000 Indonesian rupiah per kilogram. This amount was about $5 and it was paid for a 60-pound trip with a salary of about $10 for their 2 daily trips of about 8 hours of labor. If a laborer works an average of 25 days a month, their monthly salary reaches $250. In our view, this seems like insignificant and unacceptable compensation, but for this unfriendly province, and compared to the neighboring workers who harvest coffee on surrounding farms and who average 12 hours a day only earning $3, with a salary of around $75 per month, it's more worthwhile and adequate for them. As we can see, the income they earn is not worth. They work, they do as their job, and a very risky and endanger safety. Supposedly, the higher risk that employees face, the higher the income they are supposed to earn. Next, we will move on to the second issues to the next presenter, ASNA MAZNI.
Thank you, ALIA MAISARA. I am ASNA and I will explain to you about second and third issues. Okay, for our second issues, we have security threats to the workers. Okay, the process of sulfur mining poses a dangerous impact on health and extreme safety issues for miners. The sulfuric lake in the Ijen crater is also a threat to miners because of their sulfuric acid that bubbles through it has an acidic pH like a car battery. Concentrated hydrogen sulfide and sulfur dioxide gases have a high risk of burning the eyes and lungs of miners that can even dissolve teeth. Okay, the name of the gas is caustic gas, where it is very highly toxic for us human. Okay, many miners cannot afford masks or gloves, so their only protection against smoke is a cloth or scarf. Okay, the edge of agent crater is also steep, jagged, and slippery. The miners who constantly hold heavy loads often cause them to suffer scars or deformities on the shoulders and back. In addition, the volcano itself has a high probability to interrupting unexpectedly. Although mining is dangerous, most workers would rather face the dangers of volcanoes than losing their job. They do this dangerous work to feed their wife and children, since no other job pays this well, although the pay is low. Okay, for the third issues, we have lack of mining technology and safety equipment. The process is highly mechanized and heavy lifting must be done by machine. Okay, workers at other sulfur mining sites such as Canadian oil sands have better access to adequate protection, where they have sophisticated equipment for sulfur mine processing, where agent miners seems that they want to be the last generation to mine sulfur by hand, by traditional. Okay, they just use picks and baskets without any machine tools and sufficient safety equipment, since they only use the handkerchief or a damp cloth to cover their nose and mouth, because they cannot afford to buy masks. Okay, because of that, more than half of the miners suffer from pharyngitis, which is the inflammation of the back of the throat. Okay, they said they wanted to raise enough money to send their children to school to give them better options besides sulfur mining. The job is very difficult, but men often say that it is a sacrifice they are willing to make for their family, especially for their son. Okay, now I will pass to the next presenter, QAISARAH, for our solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Hasna. I am QAISARAH MIZAWAZUNAH binti Muhammad ZAKI will present about the solution for this issue. The first solution is government need to notice this job and responsible of the workers' welfare. Indonesia government Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources need to aware and be more responsible regarding the miners' welfare. An upcoming landmark bill called Omnibus Bill on the Job Creation is expected to modernize business and raise investment for miners in Indonesia, although at the expense of environmental protection and regional autonomy. The bill is a draft that obtained by the Jakarta Post will introduce 4 major changes to the 2009 coal and mineral mining law. The purpose of these changes is to integrate the issuance of mining permits, offer legal certainty for mining giants, enhance downstream industry development, and develop the nation mining territory into the open sea. The second solution is the workers should apply insurances. Sulfur mining is one of the most dangerous and unpleasant jobs on earth. The toxic air and fumes can be fatal if breathed too long at the mine, as there are no safety equipment for them. All they use to protect them from the fumes is a wet rat held to their face, and also they need to carry basket of sulfur within 17 to 90 kg up a steep rocky path from the cutter floor around 10 times a day. Therefore, the risk of falling from climbing or fall into the sulfur is high. The terrible condition are to blame for them having a life expectancy of just 13 years. Considering the hard work, the risk and life expectancy of the miners, where they face painful heat, toxic fumes, and huge loss in exchange for about $5 a trip, the mining company or Indonesia Coal Mining Association should provide insurance protection for them, like life, health, medical, and workplace accident insurance. The last solution is government and mining companies should provide advanced mining technology and safety equipment. They usually chip off chunks of sulfur with pick, Place them in red basket and carry them out to the cutter top where they are loaded into the wheelbarrow for the journey down the mountains. As they only use the traditional way of mining without the help from technological advancement of mining machinery and safety equipment, government and mining companies can help in speeding up this natural process by installing ceramic pipes on active gas when near the lake. The pipes route the gas down the mountain and condense it into liquid sulfur, which then drips and solidifies on hot sulfur mats. This solid sulfur is what the miners break up and pack out. As for safety equipment, the miners should be equipping with safety gloves, elevated temperature hard hat, gas mask, a face shield, spectacles, and durable steel tooth boots to protect themselves from the rock climbing and toxic causing gas. That's all for me. I will pass to the next presenter, NURUL AZIRA.
Thank you, Kaisarah. Now we will proceed to discuss on our own personal opinion regarding this issue. Our first opinion on this issue is to suggest the miner's wife to seek side income to help their family. Based on our reading, we found that family in that community who live near the Mount Ijen, Indonesia are depending solely on the fathers who are the breadwinner to seek income to pay for the whole family. As for the wife, most of them are known to be full-time housewives who stay at home managing their household chores while raising their children. Therefore, it can be considered that most of the miners' families are fully depending on their father's income to pay for the household expenses. This can cause the fathers to have to work even harder since the whole family are only relying on the mining income. Not to mention, the small wages from this sulfur mining also can cause financial distress to the family as well. Hence, we believe that the wife should consider to seek a side income to help the husbands to contribute in providing financial support for their family. We suggest that the wife can seek practical jobs that pursue basic skills like sewing, cooking, and gardening, or whichever skills are demanded in that particular community. For instance, the wife can take orders to sew customers' clothes, sell food or vegetables, work for people in need of cleaning, and provide babysitting services. Most of these jobs that we suggest are most likely can be done at their own home, as we understand that they are unable to keep away from their children most of the time. Thus, by having an additional source of income, this might help their husband from hustling too much from sulfur mining that only serve little payment despite of its difficult and dangerous working condition. Our second opinion regarding this issue would be the price of the sulfur and its end products should be increased. According to a research in Indonesia titled "The Efforts to Increase the Income of Sulfur Miners Through Economic Transformation," the miners tend to quit from sulfur mining and opt for another job that are safer even if it's paid lower than mining. This is because the miners claim that they have to do a risky job that is not totally worth with the payment that they obtain. For your information, it is known that most of these miners are only paid for 150,000 to 200,000 rupiah for 80 to 85 kilograms worth of sulfur. If converted to Malaysia ringgit, they would only earn for about 44 to 58 ringgit for that amount of sulfur. The low wages among these miners are due to its cheap selling price despite the sulfur itself being the most rare mineral that can only be found in volcanoes and hot springs. To add, a miner who named Kauli also claimed that the salary he obtained was only enough to buy food for his family and hence their family life never changed. Now we can clearly see how this job is not paying as much as it could to match the hard labor contributed by the miners. Therefore, in this case, the government should intervene to increase and set a new selling price of sulfur and its end products. By increasing the price of sulfur, it will help the miners to earn better wages that match the effort and risk that they have to face from sulfur mining. Aside from that, we also believe that a higher payment also can help to compensate for their injuries while having to deal with this harmful and burdening job. And that's conclude our opinions on this matter. I'll pass this presentation to Intan NORSYAFIRAH binti ABDULLAH.
Thank you, Azira. So, my name is Intan NORSYAFIRAH binti ABDULLAH. I'm going to explain and present about the recommendation. So for the first recommendation is all parties should create awareness toward this job, which as we know that sulfur mining were not an easy job, even for those who already had an experience on working and involving with this kind of job. There was still a high risk of incident that could happen during their work time, as they not only sacrifice their energy and time, but also their health and safety. Thus, in order to make a public awareness about how dangerous were this job, all parties such as government, NGO, or even from the media side, they should at least create a documentary or television program show so that people can watch and understand more about the risk of handling all the properties that are related to this job, especially the sulfur. By taking this action, it will at least help them who are working in sulfur mining to be felt more appreciated after they have taken a risk to dig up a sulfur, and maybe they will be paying up with a more high salary after being noticed by the public. So for the second recommendation, it is volunteer service work with tourism, which means that having a tourism in one country is actually an advantage for the host community, as tourism could help the host community to face up their challenges by giving some volunteer services. In order to make the miners travels become more easy for them, the energy and help from this volunteer service could lend some hand to build a road for the miner daily journey and travel from home to their workplace. This is because, as we know, what the miner have to face the hardship during their travel from home to work site. So having a new road will help the miners to work more safely and could avoid them from the disaster that could lead to the death. This recommendation will not only help the miners but also will create a positive development in one country. So in conclusion, we think that sulfur mining is one of the industries that are important, especially in Indonesia, as sulfur mining has contributed to Indonesian country development. The sulfur mining should be protected by the government of Indonesia in order to make the environment and procedure of the sulfur mining to work on smoothly. Also, not to forget about the employee, the miner especially, who has been worked with a lot of risk but still could be dedicated with their job. They should not be left behind, as the miner actually were the one who has worked very hard behind the sulfur mining industry. Their welfare should be protected and improved following the current of modernization. So that's all from our group. Thank you for listening.